door. And then you need to go out and you need to participate legitimately in the legislative process. And what I've said, and the nuance of it isn't always picked up, is there are two functions. You've got to lead and you've got to represent. And if you lead to the point where you're way out front, you need to throttle back and begin to think of how you represent. And in 66 days, we are not going to resolve those social issues.
But do you not think your constituents or the voters really should know what your basic opinion is on these issues? I mean, these are huge. I mean, particularly you being a judge. I mean, I think everybody here has an opinion on same-sex marriage or the death penalty, and then I would suggest that we should know what your opinion is going into it. Not that you wouldn't change your mind, but it's just hard to believe that you don't have a strong opinion, particularly given your history.
And politically, it fed into the Republican script.
It's very fair, subject to my changing my mind. But you know, that's used politically to say, oh, well, flip-flopping and all of that. And so that causes a constraint in how you manage your expression on this. Let me take the issues.
Okay.
Capital punishment. I wrote an original oration for an American Legion contest when I was 16 on capital punishment. I won the state contest, and I went to Detroit and delivered that. And I didn't do very well out there. I was scared to death. They had the whole convention. There must have been 500 people there. So I've thought about this since I was a kid, and this has religious kind of overtones, at least. I am just a person who feels that violence is just awful, and I don't think the state should get into violence. And so that's who I am. Mm-hmm. If I were in a Senate committee dealing with this question, I would want to hear from the victims out there. I'd want to hear from the police. I'd want to hear about the larger community, and then decide whether I can represent all those constituents in a coherent way, which could mean not supporting the abolition, because there are good sound reasons notwithstanding my personal view. That's a process, and that's what now, as far as the same-sex marriage, to me that's all a question of equality. We started with, when the Founding Fathers got together, a little pool, and if you were white, if you were a property owner, and if you were a male, you had rights, equality. And gradually, that pool has rippled out. 1958, my partner and I won the University of Maryland debate tournament, and we were invited to debate the other team in the Senate caucus room in Washington, D.C. Now, I'm a young kid then, I'm thrilled. We go to Washington, and the only place we could stay was in the YMCA, because King Cheek, my debate partner, was a black man. I've seen that change. The ripples come out. The next year, after that incident, I went to Harvard Law School. And in 1959, the Harvard Law School would only allow 5% of its incoming class of 500 to be women. Today, a majority of the students at Harvard Law School are women. So I've seen this rippling out. And I think that the equality issue is where I would focus. At the same time, we have civil unions now.
This isn't a trick question, just asking because you're a judge, what's the